Okay, let's talk a little bit about planning. This here is a very important, part in building software. What you do in this stage, as well as the wireframing stage, is going to save you a lot of time and money and heartache really in the design and development stages. So yeah, let's get into it here. So when you're planning on a project, obviously we went through the ideation phase. You've got the product, that you want to build. The first thing you really want to start to do is write down all that functionality. Just get out a sketch pad and just start jotting down everything that you want this application to do. For instance, if we were building, let's say like a project management tool, we would want to think, what would you need? You would obviously need users to be in there, right? You have project managers, you have, people that'll be working on the project. So you're going to have some sort of user management system. So with that user management system, like most of the views you're going to have, is something it's called CRUD. It's create, read, update, and delete. So you want each of those, those pieces of functionality for each section. So for user management, you need to be able to create a user. You need to be able to read it, which is basically the view, like your profile. You want to be able to update it so that you can do edits, and you want to be able to delete it. Also with users, you're probably going to want a permission set. Maybe you're going to want project managers to be the only ones that are allowed to create tasks within a project, or to be able to even create a brand new project. Whereas just a normal user, you just may want to be able to interact with those particular tasks, putting notes in, completing tasks, things like that. So you want to think about each section, and that's the best way really to start, is to find the main sections and then take each of those sections one by one and think about everything that you would do as a user and everything that you would need. So, for instance, you obviously want to be able to create tasks. Again, you want to create them. You want the ability for users to read them, to update them, and to delete them. Also, images. You may want to have images attached to a particular task, to show some example of what you want that employee to do. So you're going to have to think about, how do you want to attach images? How do you store those images? How does a user actually attach an image, to that task? So again, it's really kind of media, I guess you would call it, would be the other section. So you have user management area, you have a media area, you may have a permissions area. You would also want to, have the ability to assign users to those tasks. So that's just another piece in the task section. You want to, just think through everything that you could possibly use. I mean, we've all used applications before. We all know how they work. You all know what you're looking for. It's best to just, get a mind map together and just throw all that information down so you're not forgetting anything. That'll definitely come into play when we get down into the wireframing section. It's going to make that process go a lot smoother if you've kind of thought through everything and have a worksheet to kind of work from. And also just put yourself in the user's shoes. As I said, we all use web applications. What pieces of functionality do you like? In whatever product you're deciding to build. Maybe there's some things that you wanted to add that a lot of applications don't do, which is really kind of goes to the ideation phase, right? So you've kind of thought, you found something out there. There's competition, so it's wanted, in the market. Just really be thinking about the things that as a user you would need, to make sure that your product is gonna fulfill those needs and add value. Also, feature happy is a no-no. That's something that it's hard to control because you want to offer as much value as you possibly can. But I've used apps before. I'm sure you all have before, that are just there's so many features. It's very overwhelming, which really can be a turnoff to a lot of users. Something very simple, like I use the project management tool as an example. Basecamp is a very popular project management tool, which we use ourselves in my business because it's simple. There's not a whole lot to it. It's very easy to use. It's mobile friendly. Just always control those features. You can always have a later release of features. So of course, document all the features that you would like as you kind of go along the process of building a product. You will definitely come across things and think of new ideas as you're building, but don't inject that into the project unless it's an absolute necessity. And you want to be agile in the way that you build software, but you also want to stick to a plan. So just kind of scale back and make sure that the absolute features are there, and that the extraneous ones can just be noted, and then at a later time added as a value add. Now, how to price a product. Let's go ahead and expand that. Okay, so just do the research. Through the ideation phase, I hope that you're going to be doing some market research. Obviously, that's a very key point. So check it out and see what are the feature sets that a product that you're building, a similar product to the one that you're going to build. What are they charging? What kind of features are they giving you? And just use that. Obviously, they're out there. If they've got any traction behind it, the pricing is probably pretty solid. At that point, you can make a decision to to undercut it a little bit. Maybe you have just a full feature set that's comparable to another product. But just simply knocking $5 off the price may help push that and grab more of an audience. Another thing you should consider when you're pricing your product is figure out how many sales you need, and that's going to come into play here where I have affiliates. Is to break even on your product, you can pretty much get your budget together and say it's going to cost you $5,000 to build a product from inception to actually launching it, which would include all of your sales materials, all the marketing materials, all everything that goes along with that, which has a price to it. So kind of get that rough budget in mind and just figure out how many you need. If you're going to price a product at $20, whether it's monthly, whether it's just a one-time price, like so down here, it doesn't warrant a 2 or 3 tier pricing model where you're going to hold back some features. Maybe it's $17 for the light version, $27 for a more heavy version. Maybe an agency version is $67. Whatever that pricing may be, but you're going to want to think about that model. But kind of getting back to this is, figure out how many sales you're gonna need. It's a good way to measure, number one, the length of time it may take you to hit that goal. A lot of that is going to depend on the affiliates too. Who do you have marketing this for you? Is it just you? Are you just doing traditional SEO? Well, it's going to take a little longer to get some traction that way. And really, let's go ahead. I'll even switch these out. Let's talk about the affiliate part now because it fits there. So let's. Okay, yeah, as I said, you're going to want to start building those relationships at this phase. If you don't already have a good network of affiliates and affiliate relationships, start doing it now. Honestly, I would even start back here in the ideation phase once you kind of have that concept. But just start reaching out to people. There's a million Skype groups, Facebook groups, forums that you can go to, to start to meet these people. There's Warrior JV. There's numerous places to go to just kind of introduce yourself into the market. Plant the seed that you're going to be launching a product, and it's this kind of a product, and hey, I'd really like you to promote. Would you mind if I sent you some more information about it as we get closer? So again, that's where your traffic is going to come from. So you definitely important, to start building those relationships right away, and it'll help you figure out, kind of what kind of sales you need and how quickly you think you're going to get those. If you have a very large network, you may hit this right away. You might be able to start making profits right away. But always be thinking about how you're going to price that. And I think the most important part, though, honestly, is the research. You got to make sure the thing is priced right, or even an affiliate is not going to promote it. If it's something outrageous, if there's no real value for that price. And then the final thing here is when you're in the planning stages is start thinking about your hosting. There's obviously when we get into the outsourcing section here, I'll definitely dive more into that. But if are you a technical person? If you're not, there's some great solutions out there. There's Amazon hosting. There's HostGator, Media Temple. To me, Amazon's a little bit more advanced. It'd probably be more something that you'd want your developer to maybe run, or get somebody that knows how to admin an AWS account. But with HostGator and Media Temple, they make them, the control panels are very, very simple to use. It just takes a little bit of knowing. There's a ton of information, a ton of knowledge bases out there. And they're usually actually pretty good with support, these types, and it's very inexpensive. You can have, multiple domains for a couple $100 a year. You can have, host 100 different sites. Where AWS might start to get a little more pricey if you have many sites. But start thinking about that hosting, to start looking into where you want to host it, and pricing those things out. You're going to want a dev environment, for when the developer and the programmer starts to develop on this thing. You're going to want these two instances, to be here, a dev and then a live. So in the beginning, obviously, the dev is all that's going to be important, because nothing is going to exist on live until you kind of get to that first push. But as you start to build features, now you can have this, the developers go ahead and just work on this particular instance and then push things to live after they've been QA'd, tested, and so forth. So you're going to want to think about, about getting those things set up and ready to go before you hire that developer. And also really the developers can do this for you as long as you have the hosting account. You give them access to it. Obviously, there's got to be a trust there, but for the most part, you can isolate them to one little one site if you have many sites hosted on one hosting account. So they can always help you to get those things set up, and most of them will. At least that's what I've found in the past. Scalability, is hey, what if this is a monster and and it really starts to hit? We want to make sure that you can scale up quickly, that it can handle the traffic that you're driving to it. In the beginning, it's really not going to be so much of a concern, but it's just something you want to keep in mind if it does start to really take off for you, which is a great problem to have. At that point, you might want to bring in more of an expert to help you plan out how you should scale and what you should do with this hosting account. So again, you may not be that technical of a person. Don't worry about it. The developers, for the most part, are going to help you through that anyways. As long as you can provide them access, I've always found in the past that they're definitely helpful in that area. So again, planning, very important. It's going to play a big role once we get into wireframing. It's going to make this go a lot smoother. So just take your time with it. Sit down and, like I said, write everything down. You'll be amazed at how many things you wouldn't have even thought of before you started to write things down. So definitely do that, and we'll jump right into the wireframing in the next module.
Hey, it's Keith here. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about how I got my start in product creation and internet marketing. Now, if you've watched the entire 7-part series for the product creation blueprint, and you want to get a little bit more deeper into the subject, which there's still a lot to know and a lot to learn. This is a course that I had taken back in 2015, put out by Mark Thompson of Digital Kickstart, which is pretty much where I got my start from. Now, this is called Seller Kickstart, and it is basically a boot camp, 6-week product creation boot camp, which goes very deep into a lot of the subjects that I spoke about in my 7-part series. However, this goes, like I said, much deeper, and there's some great tips and some great processes to get you guys started. Now, I used this course back in 2015, and it's been revamped back in February of 2016 with all new content. All the old content is still available and still very pertinent because this is a process that I use and that I was taught that you can use over and over again. Just certain things change over the years, as all technology does. So Mark went ahead and updated all this to get some fresh content in there for 2016. So I just wanted to give you a quick kind of walkthrough here and show you, what's in this course. And I just can't say enough about it. Like I said, it's what I used to get started, and it helped me generate in my first year, which would be last year, over $1 million in gross sales from product creation. So again, it's called Seller Kickstart, and what it'll do is, so the first week here is Mark goes a lot into the foundation, the most efficient and strategic ways of creating products and programs, for your target audience. Now, again, you don't really need to know much about product creation, the process. Getting into this is for beginners. It's going to take you from the ideation stage all the way through launching a product, and there's so many little caveats within that process that a deeper look is really the way to go. So that first week is going to take you really into the foundation of product creation. The next module, you're going to go into more market research, knowing the profiles of your audience, looking for that right product, how to create that product, and really just make sure that you make the the smart choice in picking which product that you're going to develop, to make sure that the audience is receptive and that there's there's room in the market for it. Now, week 3, it basically goes into a much deeper look into product creation. It's basically going to give you it's pretty much the blueprint that I've spoke about in the 7-part series, the product creation blueprint. But we're going to go much deeper into it. So you're going to get a lot of fill-in-the-blank worksheets that'll keep you, ahead of everybody else, get it done a lot faster, as well as a lot of, he talks about a lot of, the things that he's learned, throughout the years. Now, if you guys don't know who Mark is, he's done over 20 million in sales in the past 4 or 5 years. So he definitely knows. You've probably seen his products out there. So he definitely knows, this process and how to use it. So the next one there is they're going to go into the marketing funnels and optimization. Mark's become pretty much one of the leading experts in funnel creation. For years he was building products and really not putting any kind of funnel in place, and realized he's just leaving money on the table. So he really started to get into the study of funnels, a lot of testing, a lot of A/B testing, which he's going to go into in this course as well, and kind of show you what worked and what didn't, and how he really increased his sales, exponentially by adding the correct funnels behind his products. After that, you're going to go into product marketing and the promotion, kind of how to get this product out into the market, especially if you're new, how to connect with people that can help you out. There's a big network of folks out there that will help on your product launches, so he'll go into that. Now, and also, once you kind of get you get into it, you get your first product out there, it's going to show you how to scale, because as you have, more and more product, it's exponentially more, more to take care of. So he's going to show you, how to use virtual assistants to take care of the majority of that, handle your support desks. There's so many things that he goes into in this course. I really can't get into all of them here, but come over here and take a look at what he has to offer. There should be a link on the video here that will take you over to this page, and you can do a little bit more research. Now, along with this course, you're also going to get a ton of bonuses. Basically shows you how his office is set up, what kind of software he's using, what kind of hardware he's using, his equipment list, the preferred service provider Rolodex. So it's taken years to kind of get these preferred service providers. Get this big list together. So he's going to share that with you. He's going to give you exact landing page templates, split test results, support, which is a big one, on how to handle the support of your products, and how you can do that, basically with some virtual assistants for a very, very low cost, as well as a physical product supplier list if that's what you're into, and fill in the blank email sequences. So it's quite a course that is packed with just hours and hours of content, and he takes you step by step, each of the steps in this process, to make sure that you're successful. So if it's something that you're really interested in learning more about product creation, I couldn't stress more. This is the program you're going to want to get into. So go ahead and take a look at this, and we'll see you on the inside.